Hey guys, so I'm back. If you haven't been watching my reviews, I was gone on vacation for about 5 days, North Carolina, seeing my sister and her husband and my baby niece for Christmas, obviously. And because of me being gone 5 days, there has been some new releases that have come out over on Christmas Day, and obviously because I was with my family, I didn't get to see them until now. I just literally, actually, just an hour before I went and saw this movie, I literally just got back from North Carolina. I literally just got out of the car from a 9 hour car trip. So if I seem like I'm tired and if I act like I'm tired, I probably am really tired. Honestly, I'm probably gonna, after doing this review, I'm gonna probably go right to bed. Um, but I normally with most people when they go to or they ride in a car for 9 hours, the last thing they want to do is go to the movies. Not me. I decided, what the hell, I'm gonna go to the movies, start catching up on the movies I wanted to see before the end of the year. This is going to be my second to last review uh, of the year. My next review, which probably will be popping up tomorrow, will be my last review for the year, and then I'll have my top 10 best and worst films of the year list um, popping up, a video of that popping up, but probably by New Year's. But anyways, so I just got back from the theater from seeing Grudge Match. I know most people probably want me to be talking about Wolf of Wall Street, which will be coming tomorrow, but I wanted to see this first. Grudge Match is a movie I've been getting the trailers for this movie for probably about a couple months now, and honestly, I was sold from the trailers. Even though I got the trailer for this movie like all the freaking time, I was sold. I wasn't annoyed every time this trailer popped up. I really wanted to see this. I mean, it's fucking Stallone versus De Niro. It's Rocky versus Raging Bull. It's basically they kept saying De Niro versus Stallone. They could have just said Raging Bull versus Rocky. That's all they could have said, and that would have been fine. And that's how you're kind of selling this movie because that's pretty much how everybody looks at it. But you know, if Rocky and Raging Bull were almost in their 70s boxing, and I thought the trailers looked funny. I thought the way they were presenting this movie is the tongue in cheek. That was the way you needed to present this because it was a silly idea about these two guys that are almost in their 70s boxing having one more boxing match. It's kind of silly, so you have to make a comedy out of it. And this movie hasn't been getting very good reviews. It's like sitting at a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, which has been was worrying me going into this. But you know what? I really liked this movie. I did. I'm Sue me if you want to, but I really did. I enjoyed it. There were issues I had with this movie. There were problems, some glaring problems about this movie, which I will get into. But overall, I really did enjoy this freaking film. I had a blast. Um, the thing that made this movie for me is the cast. Absolutely. If it wasn't for this kind of cast it has, this movie would have never worked. Stallone brings his unique charisma that he always brings to these kinds of films. He basically is playing Rocky. I mean, literally, this movie is taking place in Pennsylvania, and he's a down on his luck, former fighter, living in like a like a rough part of Pennsylvania, but it's not Philadelphia. I was half expecting for this movie to take place in Philadelphia. This movie should have been. I mean, at the rate it was going, De Niro isn't as Raging Bull as much as like Raging Bull as Stallone is Rocky in this movie, and that's kind of good. At least at least De Niro is not like beating his wife, but he is like kind of drinking and stuff like that. But he's not an alcoholic. He owns a bar, and that's about it. They don't show him being an alcoholic like they did in Raging Bull. It's just he drinks. And De Niro is obviously fucking De Niro. Robert De Niro is one of the greatest actors ever lived. And obviously, Robert De Niro is a greater actor than Stallone any day of the week. But he brings it. He's fun in this movie. I like both of them. I think they're both really funny. I wouldn't say their chemistry was spot on or anything like that. But you know what? I thought they did fine. They worked well together, I thought. Enough together. The two people that I thought really made this movie were as what I expected from the trailers, were Alan Arkin and Kevin Hart. Alan Arkin is freaking always funny. I could never get enough of that guy. Even in the worst, really bad movie, he could be the best part. He's no different in this. My God, he has some really funny one-liners, and his banter with Stallone. He's Stallone's trainer, if you want to know. He's Stallone's trainer, and the banter between him and Stallone is really funny. I really enjoyed the stuff between the two of them. Kevin Hart, my God, I'm glad. You know what? Some people might get annoyed by him, and I'm sure there probably are people that are annoyed by him, but I really enjoyed him in this movie. He was really, really funny. The people behind me were really enjoying Kevin Hart because, by God, they were laughing at everything he said. He had some of the funniest lines in the movie, I'm not going to lie. And he definitely stole this movie. That guy, I'm glad to see him, his star rising very quickly. I mean, by God, he's like in every movie now for next year, I think. And I'm happy to see that. I mean, the guy's a talented guy, and see him, become a pretty big comedic actor is pretty cool. I mean, who else you got? Kim Basinger's in it. She's all right. She still looks really good for her age. My God. I'm trying to think who else is in it. I'm thinking they're forgetting somebody else big in this movie, but what? I can't remember off the top of my head, but those are the big ones. The LL Cool J. I think that was the only character I didn't care for. Was LL Cool J. I thought he was pretty bad in this movie, but at least you got to see LL Cool J get his ass kicked by Robert De Niro, because honestly, you wanted to see that happen, and honestly, it's kind of awesome watching him get his ass kicked by Robert De Niro any day. I'm trying to think. One of my favorite parts. I like to see where they have to promote the boxing fight. Is they basically, as part of their contract, they have to promote their boxing fight at different events. Like you get Stallone and De Niro singing the national anthem and screwing up badly, and it's sounding horribly. I mean, by God, when I first heard that Stallone and De Niro were going to sing the national anthem, I'm like, oh my God, help me! And it sounds as bad as you think. What else? I liked the part where they were in the UFC fight, or at the UFC fight, and promoting the boxing match, and Stallone and De Niro's bashing of UFC was pretty fucking funny. They basically they were like, you know who else kicks people for a living? Girls. That was pretty funny. There was some really goddamn funny banter. That was a pretty funny moment. That made me laugh. Where I have issues with this movie, there's honestly the big issue, and I know it's the biggest issue for a lot of critics. I think it's been the biggest complaint, is that it is cliched as hell. It is. You can pretty much fucking predict everything that's gonna happen. You can even predict halfway through the movie how the boxing match is gonna end. I pretty much called it move by move how the boxing match was gonna go. That's pretty bad, but at the same time I was kind of invested in it. I mean, the reason why you can tell what's gonna happen is, I'm not gonna spoil it, but you find out halfway through the movie that there's some kind of health problem with Stallone, And once you learn that, you know, kind of going into the boxing match that what's going to happen, and that, you know, I mean, like I say, I pretty much called it step by step. Like, it was pretty crazy. I mean, I was like, wow, that was pretty goddamn predictable. I mean, it has Stallone, or it has De Niro, and his issues with his son, long lost son that he never knew about. Actually, he did know about, but just was never there for him, and stuff like that. And you know from a mile away where that's going. Like, it's not very unpredictable. What else? There's some other. That was not my main complaints with this movie. One of my main complaints with this movie was like the little nitpicks that I had with this, particularly the bad CGI in this movie. There is some really bad CGI. Like, there are points in this movie like where you're supposed to believe that Stallone and De Niro are at some like certain places. Like, I think it was like the one that stood out was like the one where they're at the rodeo singing the national anthem. It's obvious they are not standing at a rodeo. There was another one that was kind of drove me nuts. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there was some bad CGI, like where, you know, it's obvious that those characters weren't at what they were where they're supposed to be. It's very noticeable at times, and it's kind of like distracting. Also, I cracked up. Anybody else notice this? That's seen this movie? At the end of the movie, like when they get to the boxing match, it's told that it's sold at the arena. They had to get a bigger arena, right? Because like there was a high demand for this fight, and it was said, like told by Kevin Hart, that they sold out like at 18,000 people. So when they showed this arena, there's no fucking way. When they showed this arena, I was like, there's no way, fucking way, that's 18,000 people. I mean, I know you can't really fit 18,000 people in like an arena, but there is CGI work that you can fit, make it look more like it. There's 18,000 people in an arena, and it's pretty bad when you notice that there's no way there's 18,000 people in that arena. There's, like, that arena was so fucking small. You can tell how small that arena was. There's no way. I was kind of cracking up, like, at the end. I'm like, there's no way there's 18,000 people in there. Like, whatever. That was a minor complaint. Also, the funny part, like, at the beginning of the movie, they're showing old pictures of Stallone and De Niro. And literally, I'm not joking, they take pictures from Rocky and Raging Bull and copy and paste them and put them as earlier pictures of both characters. I am not joking. I'm 100% positive that those were pictures from Rocky and Raging Bull. They had to obviously probably get the rights. I'm sure Martin Scorsese and, you know, Stallone, you know, had all the rights to Rocky anyways. I'm sure they got the rights for that, but I was like, that's kind of cheap, you know? And also, there was some bad CGI, like, when they were trying to, like, show them at a younger age, like, boxing, or what was up with De Niro's hair in the 70s that looked really absurdly funny. There was some bad CGI, like I said, there was some bad CGI with that, too, like, showing them younger. And also, it's obvious that they weren't throwing any punches, obviously. Every time when, like, De Niro or Stallone was throwing a punch at somebody, they would cut away so, you know, make it look like they were throwing a punch, or, like, they would cut away so it would, you could obviously tell that it wasn't De Niro or Stallone throwing a punch at somebody. I mean, obviously at their age, I mean, they probably can't be doing that stuff. Although, at the end of the movie, it's literally the two of them in a boxing ring, so you can't really CGI that, so that's kind of cool. I'm trying to think of what else. those are really minor complaints. Mostly, I mean, although they kind of were really noticeable, the CGI was the most noticeable. The bad CGI was the most noticeable for me. I think I'm forgetting something else that really bugged me. I can't think of anything else. Also, at the end of the credits, stay at. I literally was about to leave the movie theater when the credits started rolling, and don't, because right away you get like in credit scenes, which was kind of nice. They didn't have to wait till like the end of the credits to see them. And there's two in credit scene or mid credit scenes, and the second one was probably the best one because it was kind of cute. It was dumb as hell, but it was kind of funny. I'm not gonna spoil all of it, but it involves a really great cameo by two boxers that really worked for me. I know a lot of people this generation won't recognize one of those boxers, but they will obviously recognize the other boxer without a shadow of a doubt. Um, that little scene with those two boxers was pretty fucking funny. I'm not gonna lie, I chuckled at it. It was dumb as hell, but it worked for me. Especially if you're, I'll just say this: if you grew up in the '90s like I did, and you watched some of boxing in the '90s, you think of who the two biggest boxers of the '90s were, and that's who the made the cameos. Let's just say that. Yeah, I recommend this movie. I was going to go see this one way or another because one, I'm a Stallone guy. It's like a rule now for me that I have to go see every movie that Stallone is in, or Schwarzenegger, action movie. I mean, I won't go see any kids movies with them. Uh, yeah. Like I said, I was gonna go see that one way or another, and I kind of knew going in I was not gonna hate this movie. I pretty much there was no way I was gonna hate this movie, and I wasn't disappointed. Do want to talk about the trailers real quick. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. There's three trailers I want to talk about. One, and the third. Before I forget, the third trailer I do talk about is one I wanted to rant on for a little bit. One, the first trailer I got new trailer I got was Blended or something like that. I think that's what it's called. I might be wrong, but it stars Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, and I don't know if I've said this in my past reviews, but I might say this. This might be the first time I've said this, but I hate Adam Sandler with a passion. But while I say that, my opinion, his best movie was The Wedding Singer. So when I hear the idea that him and Drew Barrymore working together again, I'm fine with that. I love the two of them. They have great chemistry together. I love Drew Barrymore. I like that. There's stuff of Adam Sandler's I did like. Funny People is probably his best movie in a long time. I haven't seen anything lately that he's done that has been better than that. But this one doesn't look very good. It's like both are like divorcees, I think. I don't know. They both have kids, and they both go to Africa with their kids, and all hijinks ensue. There was one joke I laughed at in that trailer. It was when they were taking the kids on like a safari, taking them on a safari, like driving them through the Sahara or the African desert, and showing them like they stop at these two lions and they're like little cub, and they're like, oh, ain't that cute? The lions are taking care of their cubs, and the next thing you know, the lions eat the cub, and they're like, the kids are like scared to half to death, and that actually made me laugh. That part was the only part I actually laughed at. The second trailer I want to talk about is Expendables 3. I got that. It was a teaser. It was basically just supposedly all of them whistling a song. I forgot what that song is called, but they're whistling a song, and then they face towards the camera, and they show like the whole list of names on it. And I have to watch the trailer online and pause because I couldn't read every name on there. I know Bruce Willis is not in this. I know Harrison Ford's supposed to be in this, right? Am I correct? Is he still be in this? Wesley Snipes is going to be in this. Who else? Oh, I think Mel Gibson, is the villain. I might be wrong on that. Antonio Banderas. I don't remember who else. I think Nick Cage. Nick Cage is supposed to be in this movie. I might be wrong on that too. But I'm sold on Expendables. I mean, this looks like they're just going on overboard with with the characters. Like, how many action stars can you fit in one fucking movie? They're trying to go overboard now. But I'm still seeing Expendables 3 no matter what. I love the first two a lot. I enjoy those movies immensely. I think they're the best tribute to the 80s action movies. About as best a tribute you can get with nowadays. It's really, those movies are really fun. They're dumb as hell, and that's what you expect out of them. And then the other trailer I want to talk about, want to bitch about for a little bit, is Son of God. Yes, we're getting another Jesus movie. I'm fine with that. I'm not a religious person, but I'm fine with that. Whatever. And I actually joked at one point. I said, oh, this is the prequel to Passion of the Christ. Sweet. We'll get the prequel to Passion of the Christ. The story before the brutal murder of Jesus Christ. But also they do show that they show in the trailer that they do show the scenes that are shown in the Passion of the Christ. They do show that part of the book of the Bible, so that will be in there too. But my problem with this movie is, my God, if you don't know this, don't be a fucking idiot and go see this movie, because what they did. You remember that miniseries that came out about a year ago called The Bible, which got a lot of ratings but really bad reviews, but people loved it to death. They basically took all the parts that had Jesus in it in that miniseries and put that in this movie. No fucking joke. So let's get this right. They expect you to watch a movie in a movie theater that you can watch on fucking TV for free, which you did about a year ago. That's fucking ridiculous. That's really fucking stupid. If people really go out and see that, they're fucking... I have no faith in society. Literally. I have no faith in society. You can go watch it on TV, and this movie's going to make shitloads of money because Christians are... I mean, if Passion of the Christ is a good example... it's about as good an example as you can get. At first, I thought this was also going to be released on Ash Wednesday, but I think it's released on the Friday after Ash Wednesday, which makes no sense, because why wouldn't you just fucking release it on Ash Wednesday? Because it worked for fucking Passion of the Christ, so why not do it for that movie? I don't fucking know. Why would... Then I was reading on Wikipedia. No, this is a little different than the miniseries. They actually have deleted scenes added on to the movie. And I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking difference. You could probably, if I'm correct, that miniseries was released on DVD and Blu-ray, which you can watch those deleted scenes probably on. Fucking Christ. Like, I have no doubt this fucking will make a lot of money. And, that's sad. That is really sad, because honestly, I didn't watch the miniseries, but I've heard about how bad the CGI was. My God, from that trailer, I could tell. And also, am I the only one that thinks that this is gonna probably get people to hate me on this? But am I the only one who thinks that the Jesus in this movie looks like one of the cavemen from the Geico commercial? I literally said that, is Jesus being played by one of the cavemen from the Geico commercial? Really? And I'm like, oh, fucking crap. whatever. I know it's gonna make money. Whatever. That's the rant. I'm not gonna get off here with that. Go see Grudge match. Don't go see Son of God when it comes out. Um, I'll be back tomorrow with Wolf of Wall Street. Really looking forward to that, and that will be my last review for the year. Um, I hope everybody had a happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, all that stuff like that. I hope everybody did. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with a review for Wolf of Wall Street.